Hi guys, welcome to Hope Channel, welcome to The Identity. My name is Samuel Maangi. Now The Identity helps us to identify with Christ, basically talking about issues that affect the youth and giving it a biblical angle and B, giving it a youthful approach so that you can be able to relate to this. Today we're going to be discussing about family and society expectations in relation to depression. On the panel today we have Israel Okoth. He's a professional psychologist attached to Turning Point Center. We also have Pastor Moses Joseph. He's a pastor at the University of Arusha and also undertaking a PhD in theology. Also in the panel we have Ambassador of Peace Imani Chepchumba, and she's a master's student. She's a master's student undertaking international peace and conflict resolution. And lastly we have Sally Oriko, a content creator. Please join in this discussion on our social media platforms. On Facebook is The Identity and on Instagram is at The Identity 254. Welcome and tally with us. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's been amazing, yo?
Yes.
You all look amazing, I have to say that.
Thank you. You
now,
too.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Pastor. Now, we are going to be discussing about family and society expectations in relation to depression. But first thing I should say, it's expected that family is the run-to when you have an issue. Is there a possibility, Israel, that family could not be the run-to when you have an issue?
There is a possibility, because if the family serves the purpose that God created them for, then you're not supposed to reach the point of depression, for one. And two, in the rare occurrence it does, then you have a first level fall to person. So at times, people in our families maybe fill their roles or even become causes of the depression itself. Yes.
Sally, probably could jump into this. What do you think about family in relation to this?
Family should be in your inner circle. For every individual, the family should be the first people you're supposed to run to whenever anything goes wrong. And there are instances where sometimes the family is the reason why you're going through what you're going through. So, yeah, there's situations depending on environmental factors, social factors, and every other thing that comes with it, that family could not be the people you run to when things go wrong in your life.
Now, Pastor, how can it be that, you know, the place that is supposed to be the safest for one to express themselves now become a place where somebody wants to run from? How could it be?
Well, this comes along with, as you said, church and society and the expectation that have been set. You know, drawing from my personal experience, I'm born into a pastor's family, and just when you hear the word pastor's family, they expect that everybody should be righteous. You know, the kids will be perfect. They'll be the first ones to go to church. They'll be carrying all the lessons and everything. And sometimes, even for me personally, it has been emulated through my dad, because it looks like if I do something that is not according to the expectation that has been set by the society, I am not only disappointing him, but I'm embarrassing his ministry. And that has been really a hard point for me. And when you know that when you say and suggest that you're struggling through something, like you don't even understand how your dad will take it, and you don't have a place to run to. So a family, rather than it becoming a haven for you to share your issues, you mask yourself just for the sake of the societal expectation and the church expectations.
Imani, why would you, as a young guy, why would you want to mask despite of the expectations? I mean, they are there with you, whether you like it or not. Why else? Why? I mean, if anything, you can just tell them what you have in your mind. Be it they hate you or love you, you're there. Then why should it be again somewhere to run from?
Okay, the family, it again depends with the factors and the situations in a family. You could have a family that, there are families that are, okay, they're fine, there's the love, there's just a normal family where we have a dad who is who provides for the family, mom always there, and the kids. That's a different situation. And again, it comes again with socialization, how you've been brought up, and the setup of the family basically, and the situation in the family could make you run away. most cases. In fact, like currently, the research has shown that families are breaking up at a very high rate, and that could be one of the reasons as to why somebody would run away, because the family is not functioning. So there's no way I can now like open up to my mom, somebody I've never had any relationship with ever since I was young. Again, we have the modernization, people moving to the cities, and they're so engulfed in their jobs, they hardly get time to relate with their kids or husband and wife. So it becomes so hard to like talk about it or open up, because the person you're living with in the house is more like a stranger. Yeah, so people run out. They find that safety, the space from maybe friends, maybe even the church.
Pastor, what happened to the family? I mean, borrowing it from the Bible, the family is supposed to be the best place. Anytime, if you're from work, you're like, yes, it's time to go home. You're happy, but then that's not the case. What happened to the family?
Well, I mean, we know what happened in the Garden of Eden. You know, Adam and Eve were created to create a family. Love creates, and so that was the initial plan, but sin entered, and with sin brought division. We first saw competition, we first saw expectations, and I mean, even when you look at the name of Cain, Cain was actually given the name that he would, like a name of deliverance, that Cain was actually looking forward to a deliverer, and the expectation that was set on him, but yet we know what he did. And so it's because of sin that has caused this separation, and has caused these expectations and challenges that sometimes we see this disparity.
And that's one thing that, again, to echo what you said, and also to merge what Pastor is saying, is that sometimes we, as youths, we do not, it's not like you don't want to be there, but because the environment at which the family exists is not welcoming for us to be who we really are. Sally, let's get to that bit of expectation. Is expectations really bad?
No, it's not bad. It starts also self. You have an expectation of yourself, whether you fully understand what it is or not. There's always an expectation on every individual that ever exists. So no, it's not bad. It just pushes people to be better, be a better version of themselves. That's what expectation should be. But unfortunately, because of circumstance or other factors and everything else that comes with those things, sometimes it's deemed as negative.
What are these factors? Because somebody's going to watch and say,
Case in
what are these
point.
factors? You know, you're speaking as if it's an
Case
alien.
in point. Let me use Pastor's example. Pastor is grown up from, his father is a pastor. And I'm guessing your father's father is a pastor.
No, stop there.
Most of the time, in some situations, it's always like that, right? So if you meet someone and they say, I'm a pastor's child, there's this perception of you're supposed to be this kind of way because you're
a holy vessel.
Yes, the holy vessel, the one that is supposed to go to heaven and open the gate for the rest of us. Yes, but sometimes those and then if you see the pastor's kid doing something that's not in line with righteousness, question marks start flaring. Another example is...
Didn't your father tell you this? Didn't your mother tell you this?
Why you on tutor? Isn't your father a pastor? You know, those things.
It's more of questioning you because of what your father
your
did.
Parents are. Those are the expectations that come. Another situation, I will use myself an example. My dad is very learned. He's a brilliant man. He reads way too much, in my opinion. But when it comes to intellect, my father is very brilliant. The apple fell very far from the tree because I don't like reading. You know, I really don't like reading. I'm sorry, Dad. I really don't like reading. But because my dad being a learned person, when we come to probably if it's a church event or a social gathering, and my dad gives his opinion about whether it's a political issue or a religious issue or anything like that, he has information and he knows how to back his information up. But when I'm asked the same questions. And I give a totally different opinion because of my mindset, and because I'm a creative, I would think of the flowery side of things. Yes, and they'll look at me as, wait, but you understand?
Yeah.
So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I would advise people, there's a reason why God made us different. God made us different because he gave each and every individual a unique thing that they are supposed to express and give in service to God. If we were all the same, this world would be very boring.
Boring.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
It would be very, very boring.
Very true. And I want to bring you, Israel. You know, it's expected that family is supposed to stick it for, you know, for all of us, for one another.
Yes.
But then I think that's one of the points that more of put people to depression.
Yeah, true. Your father is a doctor, and you're expected to do medicine. You're expected to play with the surgeon's toolkit. That is your first toy. So those expectations. But these families fail to understand that at times you're allowed to be different. Actually, fathers and mothers should allow kids to be different, not to be delinquents. Because being delinquent is just acting out. But you should just allow them to be different. Okay? You like singing. They do not want to see anything musical. That is them.
Okay.
We are created to be different, but to fulfill the purposes of God. Because
Amazing.
at times you want someone to be something so much, and they think not wanting that is wrong, and they start believing that, and that is depression.
Wow.
So they reach a point, they don't know who they are, and they don't know what they're supposed to be.
Yes.
Pastor.
And I think this is where it's really tough, because I find that expectations could be good, but they should never be imposed. That
Exactly.
because once you realize that you are not reaching up to that expectation, you start falling through the cracks. I remember I finished my bachelor at a very young age. I was the youngest student in the university for my program, the specific program at that time when I joined for my master's. And it was this expectations that you know, my parents are proud, you know, when they say, oh, my son is doing masters in New Testament and etc. But then I was struggling to keep up with class. I was struggling to even understand, why am I taking this degree? I don't want to take this degree. I've been encouraged and told this is the best for the best of the church and etc. And this was crashing down on me. And so I find that though expectations could be good, I mean, you are contributing, there needs to be a level where, as you try to allow, as my brother mentioned, you allow the person to express themselves and what they want, and you support it. Because when you don't also support that, it means that you have an expectation for them, not the support. And so if they don't do it, they find that I failed my parents, and it's such a terrible feeling.
Amazing, amazing. I want to bring you in, Chumba, and is how one is being brought up impactful on if they are going to probably fall to depression or not?
First, I would like to echo on what he said. Personally, when I joined my campus, I did very well in my high school, and I never got the marks to get me through JAB, direct entry to the university, so I got there privately. But now the issue was my parents wanted me to be a teacher.
Wow.
And they were like, when you are a teacher, you always get a job, even at the village. But personally, I wanted to study international relations. I'm telling you, it was a task. I had to be called for even the best, my uncles who are professors, my auntie who is an ambassador, to come and talk to me about this thing about international relations. And it really pained me, because my 4 years in studies, I was not passionate about it. I was just like, like a day comes, I just need to be done with this, get them, have their certificate, then me.
Yeah, have it.
Yeah, then I go do my thing. It is hard. For the youths, most of them are struggling with that, because what I find in families is that no family wants to be associated with failure.
Very true.
Completely. When you failed, or they look at you, they want you to be something and you don't want to go that path, then you might be looked as a failure. Yeah, so it is hard. Imagine 4 years studying for something you don't like completely.
But somebody would say the parent want the best for you.
Of course,
you know?
but the best couldn't be, they want the best, they always want the best.
Is it necessarily the best for you or the best for them?
Yeah, it should be
That-
for me, not for them. Because at the end of the day, I can't take something which I'm not passionate about.
There's a possibility that the parent could want to live their ideal life through the child.
Through the child.
Yeah.
yes.
Which
So-
could be another expectation, which could lead to depression.
Yeah.
And you know, sometimes the parents say that you don't know the opportunities we didn't have, and you have them today. And you know, these things are like they're like bribes into corners, like to make you, they're guilt trips. You know, you should be grateful that we are forcing you to do this.
Very
It's just
true.
terrible.
Now,
Amazing.
onto your question, there's a way that upbringings affects us as we grow up. Personally, I would always say I have a twin sister. We were born almost within the same year. Yeah. And you find now dad was working far away from home. He was working in Nakuru at that time and all over Kenya. My mom was working with Telcom Kenya. And so she's a working mom. But then we had my brother, then me, then my sister is coming almost immediately. I never got that chance to like have that motherly love because it was short-lived because my sister came immediately. So every attention was taken to
The last one.
the last born. And of course my mom being my brother and you know mommy son thing.
Son,
So it was a
mother,
real
son.
task for me because I had to be aggressive enough. Every other time, Chumba has done this, Chumba has done this. I either get a beating from my mom or I get a beating from my brother trying to protect my sister. It is something that has affected my life up to date. Because for me, I came out and be the aggressive one. I used to be looked at like this stubborn kid who never listens. But I was trying to get my attention. I needed attention, but nobody was giving me. Until when dad could come home every Friday from work, and trust me, nobody would touch me.
That's your space
I wouldn't
now.
be told, oh, do this, oh, yeah, the big girl of the family, oh, no. That was my space. Until when he left, and then he
And like,
started
okay,
another.
you started the battle to fit
Yeah.
in and stand out.
That affects a kid in growing up. It's either that kid becomes aggressive or withdrawn. And withdrawn could be very negative in a manner that the kid would feel and think like he is not worthy. We've heard of cases kids killing themselves. Yeah, it's because of that attention they would want from parents, but they don't get, which affects them later in life.
Very true, very true. I want to bring you in Israel as we go to the break. There could be more. You see, like for her, she's stood out to be the aggressive in the family, but there could be more other effects which probably couldn't work for the good, like for her. Please add some light to this.
Yeah, basically, being part of a family, you want to be, number one, wanted. That your absence is felt. There are times that you'll just come home late so that you find that everyone is looking for you. You want to feel wanted and you want to feel needed. Needed meaning that if I am not here, then there's something that everyone else needs done that won't be done. So these two things are very vital for every single human being. And to make matters worse, it actually affects our adulthood. Because we say that an adult is just what happened in their lives between 0 to 6 years. That is an adult. So being a parent, you need to be there. And sometimes families are big, so we can't put all this on the parents only. By virtue that you are in that family, be it the nuclear family or the extended family, you have a responsibility. You're an elder brother or an elder sister. FYI, you are an assistant parent. Just step in. There are times that you just need to step in because everyone just needs to have someone to look up to.
Very true.
And everyone needs to know that they are needed and that they are warranted and that their opinion actually matters.
Amazing.
That what I think might not be right, But someone will listen to it and tell me, maybe you change a bit. Maybe you do this, but not being directed and being told, oh, you're always trouble, or you need to take 5 and sit there, or when everyone else is being rewarded, you're the last one, and you're being rewarded because you're part of that family. Did they have an opportunity? They would actually not have done that. So,
okay, please.
Yeah. So these things actually affect a child, and as we said earlier, some people take it too hard and they become withdrawn, and eventually they become adults who believe that this is how the world works. I have to take everything by force. No one wants to hear what I think, so I have to impose it by force.
Amazing.
Or you think, it's not important enough. So it's not important enough, but sometimes these people who think that it's not important enough actually have big solutions to the problems that others have.
Amazing, amazing. So I want to bring you in as we come to the break, in line to comparison. You know, sometimes you have parents who will tell you, you're my son, you're my daughter, I love you, you know, there's nobody like you. But if only you did something like Chumba, you know, that person is encouraging.
Why can't you be like Nani?
Why can't you be like
so and so? Yeah.
It happens to be a sole reason where adults break down because of this expectation. We're going for a short break, but after the break, we'll be looking to the second element of the societal pressure. And trust you me, there's a lot to it. So see you after the break. Welcome back to The Identity. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for following through from the first part now to the second part. Now, during the first part, we ended on the conversation where sometimes our parents would want to, you know, have a standard measure of which they put a lot of pressure to the firstborn child. And as Sally put it, and I think I borrowed some words, that they're probably trying to make a parent out of the firstborn, so that the second, third all follow suit towards the expectation, which clearly this stands out as a pressure from a younger age, which eventually ends up to be a depressive state for the child. Israel.
Yeah, true. So expecting someone to be like someone else, of which you don't know how that someone else, the environment they're going through, maybe your child is not performing as better as the number one in their class because you're not performing as good as that child's parents. So that is the first thing we need to look at. And another thing is that as much as there is depression in these homes, we need to understand that maybe the parents themselves are going through something. So that is where the problem begins.
True.
And as a child, as I am growing in this home, and this is how I see you carrying yourself, then I think this is normal. And I try to play with kids, they don't act that way, and then I think dad and mom are normal. So that way I learn to take in dark things and all that. And then sometimes when you're playing out and you're being told you're not acting like your father, you're not acting like your family's name. I think that always happens. You go on social media and you're told, this is a honorable child. But the fact is, that is an honorable child, not the honorable himself. So allow the person to be themselves.
Pastor, were you once given that analogy, this is the pastor's child, out of something you probably did?
Well, every time I'm introduced, I'm usually introduced by my dad's name. This is the son of. So already there is this view, but even just the title, you know, sometimes even people forget my name, you know, they just know I'm pastor. And so they would class me into that specific way that I should behave, the way I should dress, you know. If they don't see me with a suit, they'll be like, what's going on? You know, what's happening? So I think it's a big danger. And just building on to what he said, you know, sometimes what has been hurting for me is that the people who you're compared to, you also know a little bit about them, and you know that there are some things that you don't want to. You're not like them, and you're like, seriously, how could we be compared? You should be grateful that you have me, because we know each other. So I find that I find comparison personally has been a very terrible thing, because they shouldn't be really a standard for comparison. We should really look unto Jesus and just try to love the person through what they're going through, so that even when I'm struggling, I can just sit you down as a parent, as a friend, and tell you what's going on. Because sometimes, because of this, you realize, hey, I can't see this person. Even if I'm struggling, even if I'm going through depression, I definitely cannot go to them, because I would have shattered their picture of who I should be.
So now, Iman, is it safe to say that better the devil that you know than the angel you want to make out of someone? Could it be safe to say that?
Sure. Because like he said, most of the time you are standardized by somebody's kid or certain family, yet you don't know what those people are. It's just like they're portraying what you want to see. But the failure part, the struggles they're going through, they don't. So I'll just say that no one wants failure, but what is out here is some fantasy that everybody wants to just like say be like that kid, be like this, but in reality we are human beings. We are fighting our own, we have our own demons. Every one of us is fighting something. So rather than just like wanting your kids to be like somebody, build on that kid to be the person they could be the best, rather than just like wanting them to be like somebody else.
More of impacting a child in a level where they could be the best version of themselves, of not what you desire of them, but then how best they could live their life and live it to the fullest. Because I personally believe there's no need for a person to be a doctor, be good at it, but then be the best of themselves when they're actually carpenters. You'd rather be a carpenter and live a happy life than be a doctor and struggle. It's more a struggling doctor, one who's using money to buy joy. Yes, please.
Can I say something about like the reason as to why the world is going wherever it's going? It's because for some reason somebody was forced to do something they never wanted. That's why we have a lot of doctors doing the wrong thing. Somebody is operating on the stomach of somebody instead of operating the head. It's because the society as well has some type of perception about things, and it's always something to do with success rather than the failures. So we just want to succeed every other time. We are forced to do things just because somebody has told us to do, not that we are passionate about it. We just want to do it so that at least we can just have a peace of mind.
To bring you past, the family could play part and probably being that safe zone, but if your safe zone, rather your family is comfortable with who you are, could the society affect you and change you from what your family knows you as and be something totally different?
Yes, in several ways. I'll just be very quick about it, but I know personally I cannot say this, but it's a trap as well, because I finished college on time, and then I've got a job. But you see, this could also be a trap, that whereas you feel like you need to finish college at a certain age, you need to get a job at a certain age, and now do you know what's the next expectation? You need to get married. Like, why are you single?
Say that again. Say that again.
You've been in the ministry for so long. Can't you see? I work in a university. They're like, there's so many ladies here.
You don't.
Aren't you seeing anyone? And you know, with this, it actually, you become a slave of expectation. But what is failure? Is a person who finished at age of 40 his college a failure?
No.
Like, I mean, while they lived a fulfilling life, I mean, the society has placed it in such a way that even when you are moving at your own pace, you feel like a failure and you want to live up to those expectations. And I think it's a trap. it's a trap because it never ends. When I get married, I hear married people on Facebook, they're like, please stop asking me when I'm going to have a kid. Or another one is defending, please don't ask me if I should get a second kid. There is always this expectation and it hurts. It hurts.
The question will be, if you will be the first person to ask, when are you getting married? We should be probably asking you, when are you going to die? Sally, forgive me. Sally, have you gone through this, or is it just a fairy tale, a hearsay?
Yes, it is something that I've experienced personally, and it's a constant thing, because when I finished school on time, and I got into university. I was blessed enough to get into university before all my classmates. So there was this rush of finish quickly, finish quickly. After you finish quickly, okay, fine. Masters, masters. When are we doing masters? We need to finish. After you've done your master, PhD. Let's go on to a
even if you
PhD.
don't want to be in academics.
Even though you don't want all these things happening, and when it gets to when there's no space for you to express yourself, for you to tell these people, wait, where are we in a rush? Like, is it a race? Where are we going? Or Jesus is coming soon, like I have to finish the PhD before Jesus comes. Like what's happening? You understand? There's no space for people to grow at their pace. Like I think it was Israel who said there's this expectation of, no, it was Pastor who said people expect you to finish at a certain time, and then after that time has passed, there's the next thing to do, then the next thing to do, then the next thing to do. There's somewhere I read that it's okay if you finish college at 31. It's okay if you get married after 50. It's okay if you get your PhD when you're 100. It is quite okay. You don't have, everybody has their own pace, everybody has their own lane, everybody's running their own race. And God knows each and every individual's purpose. Each and every individual's a plan. God knows what that plan is. So rushing people into things will cause them to will force them rather to go into now a depressive state, because now they're thinking, okay, wait, I am 30, I don't have a husband, my first child is not here, I have not even finished a PhD, what am I going to do?
What will I tell my children?
What is wrong with me? You understand? It forces people into that dark space, and they're not supposed to be there in the first place. Yeah.
Israel, let me bring you in. You know, before we paint the society to be all evil, that we cannot have opinions about ABC, there's some expectations which society has which are genuinely good.
Correct. Basically, we can say all the expectations they have are usually good. How they bring them up is the problem, because they will suggest you go for a family gathering, you're told, wow, okay, so things are going well, so what's happening? And you think it's a joke, and then it goes, and then the next person, the third person, and then you think, okay, so I think I'm in the wrong place. So it is how it is brought out, and how it is a goal that you're not meeting. That is a problem, where you start now doubting yourself and saying, wow, I think I missed a step. I think I missed a step, or maybe I am going too slow. But that is your pace, that is your journey, that is your difference. Maybe you're supposed to chill a bit for that PhD, or for that spouse, or for that first child.
Now, at
so
that
God prepares you for.
Now, at that moment,
Yes.
who's really being disappointed? Is it you or the society?
Well, that's hard to answer.
I don't think the society really, I don't want to use the word cares. I don't know what to put there. I don't think the society really puts that person into consideration. I think it's just like a bandwagoning type of thing. Like everybody's asking you that question, so they'll also ask you. But then society really doesn't, let me just use care, if you already have that first degree, or if you're already married, or if you're already, there's always something, there's always a backstory, I believe. There's always a backstory about things. Sometimes people will ask you, oh, how are you? And are you okay? They see you dressed nicely. This salary, things seem to be going good, but in the back of that person's mind, perhaps they're also broken in themselves, because they see you being successful in whatever field that you are in. They're wondering, okay, why is this person what did this person do rather to elevate themselves to the position that I'm assuming that they are in, that I'm not doing, that I've not gotten there yet.
Pastor?
I wanted to say that the person who hurts the most is you, because the society has set expectations, and these are what is the definition of success. I agree that there is nothing wrong with what the society sees as success, but this is not the only thing that should define success.
Very true.
And at times you find that for the society, like example, if a person looks at me like, wow, you're doing your PhD right now? And already they'll class me into the bracket of, okay, success. But they don't know what I'm going through. Sometimes we are rushed into these things and you miss other aspects of development in life because you're so focused on maintaining the status quo or maintaining these expectations. The society is happy, but you are dying away. And this is like a trigger because it's a trigger that could just make you fall away, realize that what have I been doing? I've done nothing in my life, and it could lead eventually to depression and even loss of meaning of life because you're not living the life, you're living your life for someone else.
Imani, you go all the way to different places to reach out to people who, you know, are going through different issues. It could be family issues, and it could be, you know, society conflict and stuff. The question is, how do you get to approach such an issue, especially when you realize that society has placed a standard that is so high that somebody is, you know, going down south?
Funny enough, in the places we go, the hardship areas, their view of life is totally different. Because what they just need anyway is just to survive, just get the basic needs. Period. That is how they want their life to, because they have not been affected with the social media thing, which the modern the people within the towns have. So they really don't have that much issue. What they just need is what? Basic needs. And so for them, it's much easier to deal with them, because at the end of the day, depression, it's the state of mind, yeah? So for them, they're worried about, oh, how am I going to get my kids food? How, they're not even worried about dressing. They can go around without clothing. But what is basic for them is food, water, things that are just basic.
Now coming to the society that we are now enlightened, how do we deal with social pressure?
First of all, is like the family as the first unit, which should be a safe haven for us, should make sure that there's that relationship that makes it possible for people, for kids, or for the husband or the wife to come out and talk. That is the first step, and this has to start from the relationship. The parents, I would say, a wife is working from 8 to 5. The husband as well is working from that time too. The dad comes late at night, find the kids already asleep. There's no way they are going to interact. But when we cultivate that relationship between the family members, it's easy for somebody who is in a safe space to be able to come to like have this social pressure. Because when I know, like, I have my mom's back and he'll always support me, nobody will tell me out here anything that will make me feel like, eh. But when you're at home, your mom is always telling you, you're mjinga, you're stupid all the time. It affects you, and the only way you'd want to go is where? To the society. And now we get to the society and they have their expectation as well.
Very true.
Which gets you frustrated and depressed.
Thank you so much. I would like to dig into experience, Ali, of this whole issue of family and society expectation. What has been your journey, and has these two entities played part through the depression that you've probably had?
Where to start? Yes, it has, because my family is close-knit. We have our own unique way of communicating with each other, and I'm thankful for that. But there's also been times where there's some certain things we can't talk about in the house. Not anyone's fault, it's just how my parents grew up. There's certain things that they never talked about, so when it came to their families, there was no need to talk about such things. So when it came a point where I had my freedom, I was in campus now, I had the responsibility to myself. I wasn't a very nice Christian, and I unfortunately got pregnant out of wedlock. And for some cases, there are ladies who, when that happens to them, they're kicked out of the house. You have spoiled my name. What kind of daughter are you? Can you go out there? Type thing, where the girl is chased away, she's rejected, all sorts of things happen to her, and you find this girl falls into a depressive state, perhaps procures an abortion, perhaps does something to get rid of this shame, which is a pregnancy is a visible shame, quote unquote. So all manner of things happen to this person, but I was blessed enough to have parents who, despite my misguided decisions, they didn't kick me out. They held me close, and my parents told me, whatever happens, you know you can always come home. Whatever happens out there, you know you can always come home. So it gave me this sort of confidence that even as I was walking out there with my pregnancy, no matter how many people talked ill about me, no matter what people were saying, the whispers, the rumors, everything was going around, I managed to block those things because I remember the words of my parents. No matter what happens, you can always come home. So society didn't really affect me in the negative way. The depression came out of circumstance, out of the relationship that I was in, and it came out of other factors because I was a mother and I experienced postpartum depression and all those other things that came, and that's when I went into that deep hole. But during that space, during that time, society didn't really affect me because I knew my family had my back.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Pastor, I want to bring you in to bring more light from the biblical perspective about family and society. Because, you know, the original idea and plan for God was to be that the family is a safe haven, as we said, you know, somewhere that we run to for strength. What could be the message to the family right now that is in constant battle with social media, you know, with all these other things?
I really think that thank you for sharing, first of all, and I think it's really an example that we do make mistakes, but the family, as Ellen G. White talks about it, it's opposed. Ellen G. White is one of the authors, a very good spiritual author. She says that the family should become a little heaven. It's actually a heaven here on earth. It should be a place of safety, a place of rescue, a place of understanding, a place of comfort, a place of spiritual guidance, a place of love, reflecting heaven. And I think this is really the message that we should take also from the Bible, because as you see in the Bible, you could see how even Paul speaks about the family, how they should all just play a part together and live together in harmony, not with expectations, or even if you fail in those expectations, but you're still loved because you're a child of a king, and you're part of the family of God. And so the family should really be a unit that reflects
Amazing. And also to add to it, you've just probably triggered a song that was in my mind. Of course, I'm not gonna sing. Disclaimer. But
have you ever sung?
Well, let's not go there. But that chorus goes, with Jesus in the family,
Happy home.
Happy home. To bring in Israel, what could be your counsel to the society and to the family in regards to exerting this pressure and expectations, and of course in relation to depression?
Number one, we need to understand that when the society has these expectations, they will experience what we call vicarious joy. They feel happy when you are up there. because of two reasons. One, they couldn't get there themselves, and two, they just
help.
want you there.
Rather you'll be a source
That
of
the
help.
association, yeah, and the help too.
Mhm.
But their opinions and all that are theirs. When the family is stable, then you're safe. Because regardless of what the society expects from me as a PK, regardless of what the society expects from me because I finished school at 20, regardless of what the society expects from me because I'm a billionaire at 35, I will not care because I know I have somewhere to go to. As Sally said, thank you. I praise God for your family, by the way. Because when the family is stable, I really don't care. Okay, I don't know. I almost fell into depression myself because I was diagnosed with epilepsy at 16. And it was hard for me out there in church, maybe in school, but because I knew my mom and brother and sisters were there for me. It was so hard. I really didn't care, basically. I didn't care what people say that I'm demon possessed or anything. I really didn't care because I knew I have someone on my back, and they're always, that is what I really like, they're always coming through for me, always coming through for me. So as family members, we need to always be there, just be there. Because as you said earlier, people who are depressed just need someone to be there. That's it.
Amazing.
Just quick thing,
As
even
don't
if the
close.
parents are not there, the siblings,
Yes.
you could be united.
As a family.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, we all have responsibilities to look out for one another. Drawing from what we have learned and shared together is that we need to be our brother's keepers. You know, depression could start from the family level. That's one thing that we are all echoing, that we should make our families somewhere that want to run to, somewhere that want to go home after a very long day. That goes to us as youths. Be the joy in the family. That goes to the parents who are watching. Be the friend that your son or daughter is missing out there. You know, to the society, it's good to want the best for another person, but then it's bad to impose it.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's good to wish them well. If anything, pray for them, advise them, but most importantly, be there for them when things are getting tough. Share with us what you think about this discussion. We're coming to a close, but until next time, may we be blessed. May we seek to live a life that reflects Christ in every day, in every interaction, and in every experience. Be blessed.
Amen.
Sasa Bwana niponye. Yesu wangu, na unijibu Yesu wangu, nakuomba Bwana, sasa Bwana, naomba Yesu niponye, sasa Bwana niponye, nakuomba Bwana niponye, sasa Bwana ninaomba Yesu nisikie Bwana, sasa Bwana niponye, sikia kulia kwangu, tazama machozi yangu, nifute naomba nifute Bwana, sikia kulia kwangu, tazama machozi yangu, nifute sasa Bwana, nifute, unisikie Yesu wangu, na unijibu Yesu wangu, unisikie Yesu wangu, na unijibu Yesu wangu, niponye sasa Bwana, niponye, niponye sasa Bwana, niponye, niponye sasa Bwana, niponye, niponye sasa Bwana, niponye. Nimezama kwenye dimbwi la mateso, nami siwezi kuinuka peke yangu. Nimezama kwenye dimbwi la mateso, nami siwezi kuinuka peke yangu. Sikia Bwana, sikia Bwana.